Okay, ladies and gentlemen, class is in session. We're here on the college campus, so thanks everybody for coming. My name's Rob. I organize Idea IPO. We've been doing events in Silicon Valley for a number of years. We do events from San Jose to San Francisco several times a week. So at this stage, we're the most active startup event organization in the Bay Area. We have a lot of partners that help us do what we do: law firms, venture capital firms, angel investor groups, incubators, accelerators, colleges and universities, and lots of other players in the Silicon Valley startup ecosystem. Tonight, we're grateful to the College of San Mateo and the Small Business Development Center for hosting us at this beautiful venue. We've held many, many events here, and we look forward to many, many more. They're a great partner, and we're honored and privileged to be collaborating with them. I'd like to introduce Robert Schaffner from the Small Business Development Center and College of San Mateo. Let's hear it for Robert.
My name is Robert Schaffner, and I'm the director of the Small Business Development Center for San Mateo County. Now, there's 1,100 small business development centers across the United States. There's 35 in California, and we help small businesses do big business. In 2014, we helped small businesses gain access to capital to the tune of $585 million. We helped them increase their sales $435 million. So how do we do that? We do it through a team of professional business advisors. All of them have been in business for themselves, covering many different specialties, from healthcare to HR to tech to procurement, any number of things to help you succeed. But we want to help businesses succeed that are going to make an economic impact. That economic impact being that they create jobs, they retain jobs, they increase sales, or that we be able to provide them access to capital to help them grow. If you had to go on the market, we provide an initial engagement of 8 hours. That 8 hours would probably cost you about $2,500. But we're funded in part by the SBA. We're funded in part by the Community College District of San Mateo. So it's putting your tax dollars to work, and you might as well take advantage of it. So I'm here at the table. There's some literature there if you want to find out some information about the SBDC. Please, don't be shy. Don't be shy about coming and signing up for service. We'd love to engage with you, love to help your business grow. One of my colleagues is here tonight. I don't know if I see Jerry and Edgar from the Tech Futures Group, which is really our technology sort of consulting arm that takes you from soup to nuts on all the different things. They do an amazing job they have an amazing group of advisors that really focus in on technology firms. So welcome tonight to the College of San Mateo. Please come up and visit. And I'll just do one quick plug. As you know, the Super Bowl is coming in another week. But we will have one event here associated with the Super Bowl, which is a Wounded Warriors football game against NFL alumni. It'll take place on Saturday, February 6th. Great cause and a great chance. You'll get to see some pretty impressive NFL alumni, and the cost of the game is very reasonable. So, again, welcome this evening and have a great time.
Okay, a few of our other partners are here tonight. I'll have them come up and say a few words. Let's hear it for Long from Aptology.
Thank you. My name is Long. I'm with Aptology. We are a California-based full-service mobile app company. We've been in business about 5 years, done about 500 apps. What are some of the things that's unique about us? One is our experience, but I also help people with the marketing of their app, the monetization of their app, helping them find fundings and partners for their app. So there's a lot of differentiators. So if you have an idea, I'm more than happy to buy you a cup of coffee and listen to your idea. Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Wallace from Metis. Let's hear it for Wallace.
Good afternoon, presenters and investors. My name is Wallace Chain. I'm the founder and CEO of Metis Real Estate. We didn't think real estate was brought to, we thought real estate could be brought to a better standard. We've done it, created a beautiful product. I'm sure you guys will be enthusiastic to see it. Tonight we are offering, if you entered the raffle, a 360 virtual tour of your property that we'll put online and you could distribute. We also brought in secret formula for unicorns and decacorns. We'll get into that a little bit later. But please visit us, me and my associates, in that back corner, especially if you are looking to buy or sell. I'm sure you'll love our product. Thank you.
All right, next up we have Victor from PSIO. Let's hear it for Victor.
So Rob told me to keep it 20 seconds, right? So let me give for 20 seconds. So what we have here, I'm Victor Som, I'm the CEO of SCM PSIO. We are developing a whole ecosystem using the PSIO glasses. The PSIO glasses is basically an audiovisual simulation system using light, sound, and voice to naturally allow your body to relax, de-stress, re-energize, and refocus. So our early adopters since 1992 up to now, even here in the United States, has been the NFL, as well as Greg LeMond, Facebook, Genentech, Google, and some other large corporations. We have here 2 devices that is available for you guys to try. If you get tired, exhausted, and you get bored, step into the world over there, come back refreshed.
Okay, so though our main mission is to support entrepreneurs locally in Silicon Valley, our greater mission is to democratize entrepreneurship globally. And to that end, we have a robust YouTube channel. We've got some awesome videos there. We're adding videos every week. In fact, tonight's event will be on our YouTube channel as well. I want to introduce Chris from Hennessy Films, who's our video partner. Let's hear it for Chris.
Hey everybody, my name is Chris Hennessy. My company is Custom Video Connection. We can teach your small business or your startup how to scale your business using video at a fraction of the cost as of hiring a large production company. I'm going to put some cards back near the pizza. I'll also have cards back there. Let's have a kick butt meeting.
So we'll start off by having each investor panelist introduce himself or herself. John, you want to start?
Thanks, Rob. My name is John Gunther. Welcome, everybody. This is probably going to be a fun event. It's always full of exciting, interesting thinking going on, so it's fun to see what people are coming up with. My background is that I had a long career at Hewlett-Packard for many years as director of design, and I've been involved in angel investing for about 10 years, and it's been a very interesting journey, learning what role that I could play with entrepreneurs in a valuable way. Made a lot of mistakes, but had quite a few successes, and learning how to do the due diligence and then work with the entrepreneur to help guide them through the process is exciting, something I really enjoy. I have very specific strategy in investing, so I don't just look at everything that's out there. I go look for very specific areas, people working on different ideas, and I go pursue them and try to form a partnership with them and help them through the process.
Alan.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alan Young. It's good to be back here. I was student body president here once. Had a very bad high school GPA, so I had to come get a new start here. My background's actually started off in VC. It's kind of a remarkable story. I was part of a very small group of undergraduate students that launched a $20 million venture fund while we were going to school. And we invested in about 20 companies, actually less than 20, probably 17 companies. And we achieved 4 IPOs. One, actually, we co-invested with Prashant's previous venture fund, Hummer Winblad, and that was our best investment ever. It was Omniture. I've also been an entrepreneur. My first software company was acquired by Rakuten, which is kind of like the Alibaba or Amazon of Japan. I'm a YC alum. I was in the Winter 2010 batch at Y Combinator, and most recently I was a founder of two of the largest incubators, co-working spaces in the Bay Area. You've probably heard or have been to Runway if you've gone to some of these events, and then the other one is called Topline, which is up in Richmond City, kind of north of Berkeley. And then recently, I just finished building the headquarters for Docker, which is one of these unicorns. And I've been angel investing quite a bit lately, mostly in artificial intelligence companies. Thank you.
Mary Jo.
Mary Jo Potter, angel investor for about 15 years. I actually had a day job for most of it, but just in case. In the last few years, I've decided to focus just in healthcare, so all of the investments I make or any of our folks make, it's in the healthcare space. Really, it's technology-enabled products and services, not so much the pharma side. I'm also a general partner at the Kretsu Capital on the investment committee, head up their global healthcare. They've got 42 chapters around the world, so we're getting some interesting deal flow, actually, from around the world, which is nice.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm Prashant Shah. As Alan alluded to, I started my career at Hummer Winblad Venture Partners, where we invested in enterprise software companies. I left in 2010 after 10 years of being there and joined this organization, TIE. How many in the room have heard of TIE? So a number of you have. Some of you have not. TIE itself is a nonprofit. We started here 20 years ago, and the mentors in our nonprofit, they do it because they join because they really just want to give back to the community. And they help entrepreneurs who are up and coming, help them with all aspects of mentorship and company building. The mentors in our organization, we refer to them as charter members. And the charter members include people who have started companies like Akamai, Brocade, Cirrus Logic, Mobile Iron. The list just goes on and on. There's about 350 such executives. They also include CEOs, CIOs, CMOs, C-levels of all kinds of technology companies here in the Bay Area, including Adobe, which was kind enough to buy Omniture that Alan and I had invested in. And all of these folks become mentors in our organization to give back to the community. So these are the resources that we bring to the table for companies that get funded by our angel group, TIE Angels, or join our accelerator, TIE Launchpad, which is an enterprise startup accelerator, by the way. So if you want more information on that, come talk to me afterwards.
Good evening. I'm Ross Johnston, and I've been in the angel investing community for about 12 years. Currently, still, I guess, with Keiretsu Forum, and that's one of the largest angel investment organizations in the world. Keiretsu is a later stage investor than what this forum looks at. So you'll hear points of view here that are a little divergent from what I would normally say at Keiretsu. We look for later stage companies as a rule. However, I've had a lot of experience in the entrepreneurial world myself, and I've also spent 30 years in the Fortune 500s, and that includes all the high-tech computer organizations, including RCA, Seagate, helped start Seagate, and a number of others, Control Data, and Univac, which is now Unisys. Those are the Fortune 500 ones, and then a number of little startups, all focused on data storage. So the data storage is my background. Hardware is what I'm interested in, and predominantly in electrical, mechanical devices, but not specifically on either side of that.
Thank you. My name is Salil Pradhan. I'm a venture partner with Draper Nexus Venture Partners. We are a early stage venture capital fund that's based in right here in San Mateo and in Tokyo, Japan. And we tend to look at companies that span a pretty wide spectrum of business opportunities, certainly consumer, but also on the enterprise and industrial side. So we see a fairly large revolution coming in tech playing a role in sort of modernizing industries. You know, you're talking about self-driving cars. People are trying to transform manufacturing itself. Ag is getting transformed. That's the kind of play that interests and excites us. I run an IoT seed fund for Draper Nexus, focusing specifically on opportunities that are at the seed stage. So hope to talk to you soon. Take care.
Great. So if you're an angel investor, how did you become an angel investor? Why did you become an angel investor? Why would one want to become an angel investor? And if you're a VC, sort of same questions. And also maybe you can touch on the difference between the mindset of an angel investor and the mindset of a VC. Anybody? Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I'd be happy to answer that. I became an angel investor because I was really intrigued with the company that I was working with, their mergers and acquisitions organization, and how they acquired companies, how they analyzed them, how they coached them, how they helped them build into companies that became valuable for them, and that just
John,
sparked
a little closer.
That just sparked my interest a great deal. Angel investing also tracks well into what I do now. I'm a professor at San Jose State University, and coaching people and helping them learn new things is something that's really exciting for me. So as an angel investor, I get to help entrepreneurs figure out how to get that first start going. Angel investing starts early. It's early enough that you can do some valuable coaching with the entrepreneurs to help them get started towards the path of eventually being successful pitching to VCs.
Well, we've all heard the joke. How do you become a multimillionaire as an angel investor? You start off as a billionaire, right? Is that true?
That joke is really quite good and accurate. No, it's one of the things that when I'm coaching entrepreneurs is helping them understand the difference between a feature, a product, or a company. And not all entrepreneurs really understand that. And if you can help them figure that out, perhaps what they have is a feature that they can market to a company that really finds a great deal of value for that, and they'll actually end up in a more successful position than trying to make a business out of something that's really only a product or a feature set.
Great. Anyone else?
You asked a question around the difference between an angel and a VC. Let me take that on, right? So conceptually, there is one big difference. Angels investing most of the time your own money, their own money. And as a VC, we're like you startups, right? We're investing somebody else's money. We have investors of our own whose money we're investing in startups like you, right? Now, what that does is our dynamics changes. As an angel, and I don't want to speak for the angels, but you're going to make sure every single investment of yours, right, tries and gets you a return. Unless, of course, you're managing a fairly large portfolio, then you get to a portfolio approach. As a VC, we're managing things as a portfolio. So we're trying to think about how to manage risk. We'll make some combination of early, late, risky, low risk. We want to essentially balance a portfolio that gives a return over time.
Well, Salil, you're the only VC on the panel tonight, right?
Prashant as well.
Oh,
And we do have a small fund at TIE that we use, but we use it for our accelerator, not for our angel group. But that said, let me just to add on to what Salil is saying, the difference between VC and angel is not just that you have a fund as a VC. One of the misconceptions of angel investing is that angel investors are not looking for high returns. So a lot of times people will go to the VCs and they say, hey, here's my thing. It turns out to be a feature instead of a product. And the VC will say, why don't you get some angel money instead and go down that path? Because this is just not a big enough market or it's not a very high return. as angel investors, we're looking for the same 10x plus return that the VCs are. The difference, though, is because they're managing it off of a fund and we're managing it off our checkbooks, the amount of the exit can be a little bit smaller, but the ROI, if you will, the IRR, is still the same. We're not looking for a 2x or a 3x return after 10 years of being investors in a startup. I mean, we want to see the same 10x. What that means is it's a question of capital efficiency for you as startups. If your startup is something that's going to require a lot of capital down the road, then venture is the right way to go. The angels generally don't have that kind of money, and if they put in a little bit of money but you end up raising a ton of money because you're capital intensive or very heavy in sales and marketing spend, then the angels effectively get diluted out over time. So if we're putting in, $500,000 or whatever, we'd like to see that you don't raise a lot more than that before you get to exit, and that exit is still significant to give angels the 10x that they're also looking for.
Actually, I remember Guy Kawasaki saying at an event that a lot of VCs are friendly, but just because they're friendly, it doesn't mean they're your friend. So you guys are friendly, but anyway, I'm not sure if that's true about angels either, but maybe you can address that.
Well, you asked the question, why did we become angel investors? I actually was fortunate to be an early investor in Supercuts. And after that, I thought, oh, there's nothing to this. You just find a good company. And anyway, I had a few after that weren't quite the same. But I actually built a software company, sold it to McGraw-Hill, and discovered by being on the inside of a large corporation how much I enjoyed being part of smaller companies. The difference in a way is that as an angel, the metaphor isn't too far away from the difference between an angel and a VC. When you're in a large corporation, you're part of a large system and structure and team and so on. You often only impact a piece of things. When you're an entrepreneur, when you're an angel investor, you tend to wear lots of hats. You tend to get much more intimately involved in what you're doing because you can, if you choose to, and if you add value. If I were looking from your standpoint, many of you are entrepreneurs, I would encourage you to find people who have money and also have an interest in what you do. Because if they're just doing it financially, 80% of them will never produce. And then you've got people that aren't happy with you and it's not the best experience. But if people join you and they really are part of it, even if it doesn't go as far or doesn't really produce, at least you're on the same team.
Big man on campus, any comment?
I actually I'd like to think that there's not that much of a difference between angels and venture investors. And I think that actually really good angels should, when we were running our venture fund, we had a very different strategy. We didn't really take a portfolio approach. I think we were more concentrated for our small fund size than most other funds our size. And then even as an angel, I'm very concentrated, right? So I think being an angel just allows me to get in earlier and be more influential during the early development of a company. But I don't, I'm not the angel that will, back off when the VCs come in and get diluted. I will participate along with the VCs in the next round. So for me, it's not that different.
All right, well, what was your best investment ever, and what was your worst investment ever? I know you're going to say Supercuts, but anybody?
Chasing a girl to BYU in Utah and marrying her.
It's too much information.
I think pretty much across the board, everyone's got a really good investment that they're proud of. Certainly, as Alan alluded to, when I was at Humber Windblad, we invested in Omniture. So for both of us, that's a top-notch investment. Since then, that fund has also invested in other companies like MuleSoft, which is it's one of the unicorns that's out there. On the angel side, a good example of an angel investment that I made that turned out really well is a company called Cloud Volumes. And we ended up at Thai Angels investing in that company. I think the total amount that went into that company was less than $3 million, but it got acquired by VMware in about 2.5 to 3 years. So as angel investors, we all made somewhere between 6x, 7x, somewhere in that range in about 2.5 years time frame. So that's not bad for a company that never raised venture money and got a very quick exit.
Well, the worst investment we made was a company called Mentura, was then called Family Pass. Came out right after Netflix, so we thought, oh, this is perfect. They were going to be a family-friendly application, and we thought, sure, we'd position it for Netflix to buy us, and this is public knowledge. Unfortunately, there was fraud involved in the investing side. We never saw a document that actually showed Netflix sent a letter saying that there was an infringement of the patent. So anyway, long story short, 2 years later, a lot of legal fees. We at least got 50 cents on the dollar because of insurance. But that was an education. It just reminds you to make sure you read all the documents.
So what are 3 things you look for in a startup before you would consider investing in that startup? Just 3 things.
Well, my list is first the people. I look at the capability of the person to make good decisions, their decision performance over a period of time, their history of decisions, their ability to take a really good idea, find the right people, and scale it. So it's all about the people. The technology they may launch with will evolve and change to the point where it may not be anything near where you started, but the people have to be the core of that. The second thing that I look for is what I mentioned before, is the really understanding of whether or not they have a business proposition that can scale, or if they really have something that they should be selling to somebody else. And then the market. Is the market crowded with a lot of good ideas? I don't invest in any applications for Apple phones anymore. It's a crowded market. There's very few software application propositions that I invest in anymore because that's very crowded, and even though I do know a lot about that area, it's chances of success are more limited. My investment strategy are around things that human needs, which is water, fuel, and food. So, I focus on those.
I can parrot that to a certain degree. I look for in any investment, number one is the team that is bringing it to the investors to examine. Now, that means that you've got to have a lead in that team. Usually the CEO is who you're going to be expecting to lead it and bring it through. But if you don't have a fully formed team, you're going to have to help mentor them, put in the right people, and get the thing going. Usually, a lot of the entrepreneurs will come in with a greatest technical solution to what they see as a problem, and you ask them one question: how do you make money? If you can't answer that, then you really don't even have a product. You may not even have a feature, and as we were just discussing, you're better off sell the idea to somebody and go on to the next opportunity. So you go through all these exercises, just like any venture firm does. And I've had experience on both sides of that as well. And you'll find that the angels are a mini venture fund, in essence. A lot of the organized ones today, as I pointed out, operate the exact same rule set. It's the exact same formulas go into establishing how you determine whether it's a good investment or not, and then make decisions accordingly. That gets the risk down to a tolerable level for an angel investment, where in a lot of individuals have gone out and made investments on their own and don't understand that process, you will wind up losing a lot of money. So it's a lot more advantageous, and I found the camaraderie of the group also gets it to the point that you can literally go in and pick a very high percentage of good deals and make a good return on them over a period of time, very much like a venture firm does.
You know, there's when I meet entrepreneurs, I ask them, I guess the question or the two questions that I find really hard for them to answer. And the first question is, and this is, by the way, coming from an enterprise software point of view, so this doesn't necessarily apply to games or to consumer products or those kinds of things. But for people in my space of enterprise software, I ask them, for the customers that you're chasing, tell me, one, why are they going to make a purchase decision? And two, why are they going to pick you? Number two, they usually answer okay. You know, they'll say, well, we've got the best set of features, we've got better pricing, whatever it is. And it is getting, by the way, just as a side, much harder to answer number two because, as to John's point, the software market is extremely crowded. But number one, why is a customer going to make a purchasing decision? Very, very difficult to answer. Most people will say something like, well, we save them money, or we increase their revenue, or we make them more productive, or some such thing like that. And none of those answers is really sufficient, because most people, when they have a pain in the enterprise, they just live with it. They're not compelled to actually make a change. So for you as an entrepreneur, the key is, can you figure out why they're going to make a change in the way they're doing business? And the answer isn't because it's going to save them money. It's usually something else. You know, a good example is, how many of you in the room have heard those Geico commercials? Call us and 15 minutes will save you 15%. How can you not hear it, right? Okay, so out of those of you who have heard that, how many of you, after you heard that commercial, you actually picked up the phone and called them? One person. And that's pretty typical, right? Most of us hear that commercial and we don't think, wow, let me pick up, you know, I can save 15% right away if I call Geico. Even if I believed it, I wouldn't pick it up and pick up the phone and call them. And the reason is usually because 15% savings on your auto insurance premiums is not that significant compared to everything else that you have to pay for. You've got medical insurance, you've got, you know, your mortgage is the big ticket item, maybe you have kids in college, or, you know, alimony payments. I mean, the list kind of goes on and on and on of things that are way more expensive than your auto insurance. So even though they're solving a real pain, which is they probably could save you 15%, you're not compelled to do it. That same analogy plays out in the enterprise world. Just because you can save somebody a few more bucks on better, you know, VMware management solutions or something like that doesn't mean that they're actually going to make a purchasing decision. So that's what I really look for when I talk to entrepreneurs. Do they have a keen understanding of how those decisions get made and why they become important at what time?
So let me take a slightly different perspective. The perspectives you heard certainly are the same we would take, but we, you know, over the years I've kind of learned that finding great teams or figuring out who is a great entrepreneur is much, much harder, especially in a few meetings, right? The guys who speak really, really clearly and can articulate things very well, answer questions, aren't always the greatest of entrepreneurs, not always. And the people who are the most resilient sometimes can't speak out very well, right? It's something we kind of learned the hard way. So a couple of sort of, you know, techniques we figured out, right? So we're a thesis-based firm. So we tend to sort of know the space we're going to invest in. We usually analyze the space either when we see the investment or because we believe a space is going to take off. We know about the space, we know the customers, we have some thesis around it, right? So the kind of entrepreneur we tend to like is somebody who comes and over the next 30 minutes educates us about the market and the problem. So 30 minutes later, we who know the space feel we learned something new, right? And we feel like this person has given us a perspective that we lacked, right or wrong, is willing to engage in a dialogue, and is willing to learn, right? Because in the end, you know, we can start with an idea, but we all know by the time we make money, we're selling something else. It's rare that we actually start with the same thing and finish with the same thing, right? So we're looking for people who can adapt, who can learn, who can understand problems, and most importantly at this stage, do it as thriftily as required, right? There are markets where you need to spend money. By all means, if you raise money, spend it. The last thing I want to see is somebody who says, I'm trying to raise $3 million and my burn rate is going to be $200K a month. And what are you trying to do? Well, we're trying to figure that out, right? I've actually not, I've actually had those kind of pitches before, right? And from very seasoned, very articulate guys. So we start by saying, look, can you educate us about a problem that we find interesting? And do we actually feel like taking a second meeting with you, right? I normally tell people, I'm not the guy who's going to give you the money fastest, right? I mean, people say we're the first money and we're the quickest to write checks. We're neither, right? We guarantee you we will be one of the most helpful firms you've worked with because we will spend a lot of time with you. We will help you find customers. We'll help you with your marketing pitches. We'll help you with lots of stuff. But that takes time. We need to get to know you. And that's only going to happen when you start educating us, start listening, introduce us to potential customers, and help us figure out the problem.
Do any of you actually invest in concept stage startups? In other words, I have an idea, but there's not really a product, there's not really a user base or revenue, because every time we do a pitch event, we have a lot of people that are in that situation and they want to pitch, and I tell them, no, our panel isn't interested in that stage of a startup. Hopefully none of you will say yes.
We have, as a firm, we've incubated companies.
Thanks a lot.
So that would certainly be, companies that we have helped create and at the concept stage. What I will tell you though is if you haven't created companies before and if you hadn't had some level of success, right, it's pretty optimistic to walk into a firm and say, here's the concept, fund me, right? I see a lot of people still trying to do that. Is there a probability you'll get funded? Yes, there is a probability, right? But let's be honest, the chance of being struck by lightning is higher, right? You're better off trying to do some experiments on your own, trying to prove that a market exists, doing some level of experiments, work with a couple of angels, raise a little bit of money, tell us why this is interesting before you raise money. So I would say concept stage, yes. Probability of doing that with people we don't know, pretty low.
If you're Elon
Something else
Musk,
that
maybe,
might
right?
help folks that are entrepreneurs, to ask yourself, is this a lifestyle company or is this a scalable company? Because a lot of ideas are good ideas and they might be very enjoyable businesses for years, but they may never go beyond 5 or 10 million and you could have a nice life and there's nothing wrong with that. So many things we see, we basically say, don't go get money. What are you going to do? Yes, you might pay yourself a little more, you might go a little faster, but do you really think what you're doing is meant to be a $100 million business? Because if you're going to take X number of millions, you've got to promise a fair amount back. So I think that's the other thing, as I look at opportunities, the ones that are the simplest, the easiest to understand, if I can leave there and talk to anybody on an elevator about it, I think I got something. And the second thing is, and just a quick aside, a company called Lucky Litter was a perfect example of John's point. This guy had never built anything. He was a company guy. He got this idea of Lucky Litter because he had a cat and he hated changing all the kitty litter, so he invented sort of the razor blade. You pull it out, you replace it. It took off. We all thought, isn't this great? Well, then the largest player in the industry came and sued him, kept him, basically the business in an injunction for almost 2 years. We all had to ante up. He hung in there as the CEO. We spent $2 million fighting them. We won. The very next day they came and made an offer and bought the company. But that's all because Alan Cook was a very persistent guy. So,
Okay. Actually, we have time for one last question. And the last time I had this event, I asked, are we in a financial bubble? Because at that time, it was last summer, things were looking pretty good. So 2016 has ushered in major decline in the financial markets, volatility, decline in oil, commodities, other financial assets. So what does that mean for the national economy, the global economy, but more importantly for us here in Silicon Valley, and what's going to happen in the rest of 2016? So I want to hear a good prediction. It's on video.
Well, I'm kind of negative on 2016. I'm being very careful about my investments and don't plan to be very aggressive in 2016 on my investments. Trying to really bring the investments to success that I'm involved in right now. Last 2 years I've been highly speculative and put a lot of money out into almost concept levels. They were beyond those. So now I'm really kind of focusing on helping what I've invested in be successful. I'm just not feeling real good about this year being a place that I want to speculate a lot of money.
So we spend a lot of time thinking about that, right? As a firm, you start the year by saying, what are we going to do throughout the year? And investments come at a certain pace. Once you've been in business for a few years, the clip is pretty steady. When you're new, then investment comes and they come, and then you decide whether you want to do them or not. But two pieces of thinking came out internally and talking to people, right? One, obviously, as you know, over the years, we've had several companies raise money at very high valuations. And we're starting to see people dramatically change their perspectives on the valuation they're willing to take, okay? Case in point, this particular entrepreneur came to us in October and was raising money and was Series B level money. The valuation seemed very high. We told him that much, and he laughed and he said, that's fine, good guy. Just heard back from him in January, and he's happy to take a 45% cut in valuation, is the first comment I heard. I'm like, remind me again what you did? Because we didn't even get that far. We simply said, hey, we talked before and we'll take a 45% hit in valuation out of the blue, right? So that immediately tells you that fundraising at lofty valuations is slowing down. That doesn't mean everyone's going to have a problem. There is certainly somebody who's going to have more problems than others. Now, what does this mean for you guys, right, who are going out and raising money? I assume many of you are raising money for the first time for your companies, right? So you're raising your first round of money. And I always ask people, what does that mean for you guys as seed stage investors, as angels? And the perspective we've seen is, look, it's all about risk, right? You were saying earlier you invested in concept stage companies. If the market is slow, you would rather take the money and invest them in companies where some level of validation is done, right? But as the market really heats up, putting money into companies that have validation becomes very expensive. So then you look at companies which are a little bit earlier and earlier and earlier, right? Well, when the market becomes tough and valuations drop, it goes in the other direction, right? So I'm now looking for companies that have a little bit more validation than I had last year. At the same time, it's actually a good time for all the real entrepreneurs out there, right? Because I don't have to go out and fight with somebody else because they can pitch better. I can actually fight with people as an entrepreneur who are actually good entrepreneurs, and they have a real business. So someone's willing to listen to me because I actually have something that might become a good business, as opposed to my ability to pitch something beyond other people's beliefs. So in short, I think it's a good year for entrepreneurship. I think this is also a good year to be thrifty with your money.
Any other quick predictions for 2016?
Yeah, I predict that Carolina is going to win the Super Bowl.
You got money on that?
Yeah, I think that if we knew what would happen, we wouldn't be VCs. We would be hedge fund managers, and we would make a lot more money. I tend to think that innovation is kind of unscheduled and random. So if you pay too much attention to the macro, you're just getting distracted by what you need to do, which is focus on your own idea and execution. And I think that investors might have a general sense for, okay, others are lowering their valuations. Maybe we should go and look for later stage companies. Last couple of years, I participated in later rounds in unicorns, right, and at higher valuations, but which seemed safe, and they've both worked out. and I didn't do as much early stage stuff. But it shouldn't matter to you guys. You know, I think if you're starting now, who knows what will happen, and you just can't focus on that stuff. And either the market takes a plunge and it's a really good time for you, or the market heats up and it's a really good time for you. If you have a good technology and a good product, and you know how to execute, then it really doesn't matter.
As far as 2016, I think it's a little obvious that we've had a large correction in the stock market. Things are looking kind of gloomy. However, I'm going to play the counter-cyclical here. For a startup, sometimes if you can get the funding, this is the time to do it. It gives you the runway to get through it as the economy turns around on the other side and comes out. You're strong, you're ready to run, and you grow with the growing economy. So it might be the best time actually to fund a company right now.
There's probably going to be a lot of people that want to talk to you later. Ross? Yeah.
I actually think it's a healthy thing. You know, all of these cycles, we've all been through 3 or 4. I don't sense it's a downer, I just sense it's a balancer. So what we're hearing is valuations are getting more realistic. There was just lots of money going. And when that happens, really it's not healthy for anybody. It forced all of us to work much harder to find the good, healthy, reasonable valuations. So I hope it's going to make our life a little easier, that people come in a little bit more realistic. They won't be asking for 10 and 20x for their first rounds.
All right, well, let's hear it for our panel and their comments. Okay, so now it's the main event. We're going to have our startups pitch to the panel. 2 minutes, no slides, followed by 4 minutes of Q&A. It's a public event, so there's not going to be a discussion on dollar amounts asked, but the panel has, everyone on the panel has the executive summary of our presenters, so that they have an idea what they're looking for. So it's not a contest. We're not going to rank first, second, third place. It's not that kind of event. It's basically an opportunity for startups to get in front of investors and for inventors to take a look at solid startups. And the best result that could happen would be a second meeting, or maybe a second discussion, which would be an awesome outcome. So first up, we have Shahani from EmoChat. So let's hear it from Shahani. Is that for Shahani?
Hi. With EmoChat, you can create software-based emotion sensors that use emojis. Here are some compelling facts. With live TV audiences, our emotion sensors have had 100 times the engagement rate of Facebook and Twitter. Our emotion-based marketing is so powerful that the last marketing campaign that ran on our platform had a 4.7% click-through ratio, which is more than 3 times the global average for Facebook ads. After a 2-week pilot, the government of South Australia offered us a 1-year contract. Last year, we were featured as one of the top 3 event technologies in Australia. We have been used by TV stations, including Cairo TV in Seattle. Nielsen's India is taking us to their customers. And we have been used in TEDx events, in universities, in pitch competitions. The list goes on. So let me explain our platform with a popular scenario. Imagine a live TV program and the TV audience at home. The TV station creates an emotion sensor for that show, and they share it with the TV audience at home by showing its URL on the TV screen. The viewer at home can anonymously express their feelings with just a touch. The TV producer can instantly see the audience emotions, and the TV station now can market directly to even the anonymous emoters based on the emotions they express, a new revenue opportunity. We are a SaaS platform with a B2B2C business model. Thank you.
I didn't quite catch how the audience actually responds to the, maybe I really didn't quite get the product. So you're saying that something shows up on a TV, if I'm watching a TV show.
When you watch the TV show decides how they would share the emotion sensor. At this point in time, all the TV stations that we have worked with show the URL of the emotion sensor on the big screen, on the TV screen, just like the way they show the Twitter handle and all that.
So then I, as an audience person, goes to that URL?
Exactly. And then you see the emotion sensor, right? Created for that particular program. And that emotion sensor can be dynamically transformed. So as the TV show continues, the producer can keep changing the sensor to match with the program's progress.
I think you've run an ample amount of tests already, and you bragged about how high of an engagement level you're getting with the ones that click the URL or go to the URL. But do you have any sense for your conversion rate? How many of these people go to the URL? I can believe that those who follow the URL will have a high engagement rate, but what's your conversion rate of the entire possible population that's been watching these programs?
So the way it depends on the TV show's audience, right? So all we can compare with is, so we don't have access to the typical Nielsen's ratings and so on that the TV station has for each of their programs. So we can only ask them, how do we compare? Because they have the real numbers from us about their engagement. And when we ask, how do we compare?
Well, for events like TEDx, they don't know this.
I'm sorry?
For events like TEDx, they don't know this.
Oh, TEDx and so on, it's more than 80%. I mean, events that we know the rates, the engagement rate is more than 80%.
No, I already believe your engagement rate. It's the conversion rate that I'm trying to get at, right? Out of the entire audience at the TEDx that's watching this TEDx event. The TEDx event is too, it's not spontaneous, but it doesn't happen enough. It's not scheduled enough.
Like if there is a TEDx, the TEDx events typically that we have been in are events like this, which also live stream to a couple of other locations. So we've typically had more than 80% of the participants actually emoting. Okay. That's what I meant.
What are some of the applications that you see going forward? I'm in the healthcare space. I could imagine this being used. They're going to be paid based on customer satisfaction. They want to know before.
So we've had one university professor who is an autism researcher saying that he would like to use it to teach autistic children about emotions, right? And then we had another doctor who had his own medical center say that it would be really good to use for individual pain threshold management. So like that, we get different use cases from people who see this. It's really amazing. I mean, in Australia, one hospital was considering using us for child cancer patients to make them express how they felt in a more, fun way, so to speak. So
I think I understand the benefit to the people that are marketing and the user. How do you make money as a business? Is it a subscription?
Yes, it's a subscription model. We sell to enterprises, but obviously individuals, people with, bloggers and so on, even they can make use of it because it's a software-based sensor and it can be embedded into a web page as a web widget. So we have a subscription platform with the pricing ranging from $24.99 and up. And okay, I guess time's up. Okay, thank you very much.
Next up, we have Bhavin from Sparksit. Let's hear it for Sparksit.
How is it now? Good? All right. Thank you, Rob, for having me. So my name is Bhavin Tripathi. I've in the trenches digital marketing experience for about 12 years. And what I'm going to be talking about today is Sparksit. So Sparksit essentially is an online SaaS-based content distribution and lead generation platform. And what we have done is we have brought together advertisers right now in the B2B marketing space, and we have brought media publishers, people who have lists, blogs, influencers, those kind of things, and brought it on this platform called Sparksit. And we have had some good traction so far. We started this 8 months back. We have generated about $250,000 in revenues. We have landed some good clients. Some of it is in Bay Area, and that was the reason to move here from Chicago. Some of our clients are Marketo, Acton Software, Citrix, Scripted, and few more that we are talking this month. And we've done some great work for them. We have generated about 12,000 leads for them, and we have a healthy profit margin of about 75%. So to dive a little bit into it, the holy grail for marketing is lead generation. And right now, the problem that marketers are facing is to generate one lead, it takes about $120 to $150 to generate a lead. So the first thing marketers do is they go to Google, Facebook, Twitter, and things like that. And we have been able to cut the cost per lead by about 1/5 of the cost. And the way we do this is we bring all the publishers on our platform, match with the MQL, which is the marketing qualified lead from the advertisers, and basically generate a campaign for them. Digital marketing is a $100 billion industry. $44 billion each year is spent on content marketing alone, and our immediate obtainable market is $2 billion in lead generation. So that's Sparksit. I invite you all, so let's Sparksit together. So, yeah.
I have a question. Leads are not a single thing. There's a whole range, the value of different types of leads. Talk a little bit about why your lead is more valuable than other leads. You know, you quoted a number of the costs for creating a lead. You know, I can argue that I could do it for even much less than that, but it may not be a valuable lead that I can convert and monetize. So talk a little bit about how your leads are valuable enough that I'm going to see a better return on them.
Yeah, so the value is what the marketers put based on their marketing qualified lead in their company. So we are not that product where we are saying our leads are better than yours. What we do is we help them generate leads through their content, through webinars, ebook, infographics, whatever it is. And that filters come from the advertisers, which is like, okay, I want someone at company XYZ with this title, in this company size, in this market, and stuff like that. So that's what it is. Where we come in is they don't have to advertise on Google because the cost per clicks are through the roof, right? Display is through the roof. What we do is we bring media publishers on our platform. And because of that, we have the power of the community, because now if I'm a marketer, my biggest challenge is how do I keep my sales force busy? And that's what we do differently. So yeah, hope I answered your question. Yeah. But I can take you out for coffee.
Who do you think of as competitors?
It's a very fragmented industry. It's $2 billion every year marketers spend in lead generation, but it's very fragmented. The closest company that we have found, and one of my clients told me on Friday, Scripted, is a company called Integrate. But what they are doing is they are very focused on lead gen. We basically built a platform. I've been bootstrapping my digital marketing company from 5 years, and out of that, this company came about as a way of background. What we are doing is this is our first revenue generating model. Our the problem that we are really approaching is an all-in-one platform where a marketer can go in, create content, distribute the content, and then create leads out of it. The problem with the competitor, again, our client said it, is they have a high startup cost. You have to pay $15,000 just to use their platform. And then the CPLs is way high. So we can undercut them. We have been doing it. What we want is just $500 to use the platform and get a CPL at 1/5 of the cost. So.
What's your cost of acquisition?
Depends, but we do anywhere from $16 to $75. So ranges.
But you only have a handful of customers right now, right?
Right, but we have generated 12,000 leads. So one company basically had, so it all depends on the filters you apply, right? Like when you fill out a form, somebody just wants first name, last name, email address, phone number, and company and title, right? Then
I'm
there's
trying to figure out if you're eating your own dog food. So what's your cost of customer acquisition?
So we basically do it for about $4, $5, $6, and then we basically do our margins is about 75-80% on top. So that's how we make money. Did that answer your question? No.
No, it's so you've mentioned that Citrix is a customer or Marketo. So I'm just guessing you have a handful of customers right now, or a dozen customers, right? How much does it cost you to get these 5, 10, 12 customers?
Oh, okay. We just do old school emailing.
You're not using your own platform to get your own customers.
What do you mean?
You're not generating your own leads through Sparksit, right?
Of course we are. We have a whole digital marketing database of
That's
about
what. So
$150,000.
So what's your cost of acquisition for your? I'm just trying to figure.
This is our enterprise customer basically. So we have a database that we have built in. So that's how we do it. But sorry, I didn't answer you, but I can definitely talk more about it. So. All right.
Okay, next up we have Hank from Device Linked. Let's hear it for Hank.
Thanks, Rob, for giving me an opportunity to present here. Yeah, I'm Hank, co-founder of the Device Linked. If you have used Airbnb, normally as a host or as a guest, you know the most difficult part is give the key to the guest. And what is more, once the key is in the guest's hand, the key may get lost, or somebody duplicate your key. So we have a product to solve the issue. We have a product called G-Link. It's available on Amazon for $45. There are more than 800 units has been sold on Amazon, and it generates $40,000 revenue with 75% margin. So we have about 45 reviews with 4.5 rating. So here's how the solution works. The Airbnb host, they can use our mobile app to authorize the guest. So the permission will push all the way to the smart hardware. Then the guest can use their smartphone or use the key fob to open the door, open the garage, and open the gate. So our business model is subscription fee charged from the Airbnb host, and also they sell the hardware. And we have two founders. I am working on a software platform for more than 10 years, and my co-founder has worked on hardware for more than 10 years. So we are the best team to solve the issue. And Airbnb has grown 100% last year. This solution can apply not only to Airbnb, but also to a whole rental market. So I would like to invite you to join me to solve this problem. Thank you.
So, you know, it's definitely a very interesting problem. We've seen quite a few companies try and tackle this in different ways.
Yes.
What's not very clear to me is you said you're selling something on Amazon for $45.
Yes.
What exactly are you selling on Amazon?
That one is called G-Link. G-Link is garage link. So it's a small piece of hardware. You attach it to your garage opener, and then you can use the smartphone to open your garage. So by that way, you enable the opportunity to authorize the third person to open your garage at a defined period. For example, you authorize somebody like 1 month later, and then for 3 days, and then that person, during that valid period, that person can open your garage. So that's the first piece of our full solution. That's one is control garage.
So there are lots of products like this in the market. So just to give you an example,
Yes.
I was looking for garage door openers for my own house and smart
Correct.
locks for my own house.
Yes.
And were wasted for choice. I mean, literally wasted for choice, right? I
Right.
bought 4 different units, put them through an evaluation, picked one, right? And it's worked extremely reliably. I've seen a lot of companies try and build products in this market and have struggled or failed. So I congratulate you on bringing something to market. I've seen a
Right.
number that have spent money and not brought anything to market. But it's a very tough space. If you want to focus on the Airbnb problem, why aren't you
Right.
making an all software problem? Or is that what you're saying, is you have 2 different products,
Yeah.
one for opening the garage, and then the second is an Airbnb product which is software only. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So the full solution includes the software part, which to do the authorization. And then include the hardware part, which is the garage part and the smart lock part. So that 2 pieces of smart hardware. And then the mobile app part. So it has 3 parts for the full solution. As for the garage, if you search Amazon, the actual solution will be, one is the MyQ from Chamberlain. The second one will be our product, G-Link. Pretty much the rest one, which is you can use the phone to open the garage, not really work. So MyQ has been there for several years, and MyQ's solution is more like Wi-Fi, and that one. It's not easy to authorize third people, like Airbnb guests, to open your garage. It is designed for consumer. So we designed for this solution from the very beginning.
How much would it cost for a host per unit, per apartment or whatever, per unit to fully implement your solution?
Fully implement is for hardware part, garage is $45 on the Amazon. The smart lock is intended for $99. And then there is a bridge. Bridge will be the $45. So this is the hardware cost. Software cost would be based on the user-based. So for that one, we still test the price model. We're trying to charge like, for example, $5 per month, and then that's a flat fee for a host. Or we can charge like 50 cents per transaction. It's like when you authorize a person. So,
Do you have any IP protection?
not really right now. So we're preparing to apply some patents, right? Currently, we are self-funded, so all our money is kind of doing the development and the manufacture. Right.
Just a few seconds. How do you acquire users?
Right now, we just put it on Amazon, so we haven't do much marketing yet. Yeah, so far is more, most of the part is the user recommended user. Right.
All right, next up we have James from Zaha. Let's hear it for Zaha.
Hi, everyone. I'm James Cisneros. I'm the founder and CEO of Zaha. Zaha supports often ignored opportunities to improve student achievement and strengthen our schools and communities. My team and I have met with many national education associations, representative stakeholders from over 100 schools, and whenever we meet with a principal, an assistant principal, an activity director, we ask, what % of your students are involved in an activity? Believe it or not, none have been able to answer that question. This gets me to how I started Zaha and why I'm committed to it. About 2 years ago, I met Mike Smith, the founder of the Alliance for Student Activities, and he reminded me of the importance of student involvement. If students are involved, they have higher self-esteem, grades, and graduation rates. As a conversation went on, and it was a long conversation, Mike could talk, he shared something pretty impactful, that if a student, regardless of their background, is participating in 2 school-sponsored activities, we can statistically eliminate the chance they drop out. That's an incredible opportunity to make a difference and build an amazing business. Unfortunately, schools do not have the data or insight to make a difference, and they're using website updates, calendar updates, email blasts, robocalls, tweets, Facebook posts, remind notifications to share the same content to try to build that engagement. It just doesn't work. We created a free unified communication engagement platform for K through 12. It's it's focused on everything after the bell, designed to spur that necessary student, family, and community involvement. We have a platform with iPhone and Android apps. We haven't officially launched, but we already have schools and associations in 5 states, including California, which will be a pretty important state because there need.
So I'm an entrepreneur in residence with the Tech Futures Group. That's something I devote about 10-15% of my time per week to. And Jerry is back there. He runs that group. And one of the most valuable services they provide is some help with getting government grant funding for interesting material outcomes that impact something that should be a priority for the government. And I think that there may be some Department of Education grant funding for something like this if you can really prove that, you cited some statistics. If you can prove that and say we can improve the statistic, we can build some technology to make this process work better, and the material outcome will drastically improve, then I think you might have some ability to get non-dilutive grant funding for this. So and this goes for any of the teams out here. If you have some very unique proprietary technology that you think might be a priority for the government, there is a lot of non-dilutive grant funding that exists, and TFG is one of the better, organizations that you could work with to get that, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Awesome. Thank you.
Not even a penny. So I'd suggest you talk to TFG. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
James, what does your platform do? Like, what are some of the features? How do people use it?
Okay, so an individual school can sign up, a district, an education association. They all have the same problem, communication engagement with the same audience. We'll take the example of a high school. They can build a community club by club. They can invite the staff, the freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, the parents. Now, the first thing we do is we segment students from adults as they participate in student activities. The students can safely explore their interests and connect with other students or clubs about that interest.
So these are all for school clubs versus outside of school activities.
No, but both. And that's one of the beauties of the system is any organization can be a part of it. For example, the PTA. They may need to communicate with the parents so they can be on the platform. The school can be on the platform, and they both have communication and analytics from that same one tool.
What's wrong with email?
What's that?
What's wrong with email? If I want to join the PTA, just join the PTA, they'll send me email.
Schools use email, and they use email and robocalls and calendar updates and Facebook posts. They're using all of these different tools because none of them have proven to be effective. When the school sets up a club, imagine this invitation: join a club to meet your future classmates. You're an incoming freshman. In tests, that was pretty hard for anyone to say no to. And for a parent, they have one stream of content for all their children at all schools. One calendar update. When something changes, the parents get a notification. so they don't have to use or be bombarded with all of the same message from all of those different tools.
So I think in your 2-minute elevator pitch, you need to bring that out, because most of your pitch was spent on talking about how the principals had no idea what was going on, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and it never came across clear as to like what it is. It's like describing a car but never saying it has 4 wheels and a steering wheel.
I appreciate that.
How do you get funding? What's your model? Who buys it for how much? And
Okay, so it is free, and we actually have many revenue streams. The first will be enrollment, because we have an entire school community in loyalty programs. Consumer research, crowdfunding for student activities, but that's just a revenue stream completely dedicated to the school. Discovery of youth programs, such as a camp, and targeted ads to adults. It will be ad-free to kids.
How do you monetize this?
When we hit 750 schools, the first thing we'll monetize is the enrollment in the loyalty programs. One of the popular vendors out here is eScript.
All right. Next up, we have Leo from Arthazone. Let's hear it for Leo.
All right. So I want you to think about the best butcher in your neighborhood.
Lift the mic a little bit.
I want you to start by thinking on the best butcher in your neighborhood. And then I want you to think about getting a steak delivered right to your door. Now, enough about you. Let's talk a little bit about me. My name is Lior Levi, and together with Alex Zeltzer here, we are running Artizone. Artizone is an online farmers market and a home delivery service. With 200 artisans, farms, and local shops, we already delivered 150,000 packages in Dallas and in Chicago, generated revenues already in the last year and the year before. We have a team of 3 that run the company. All of us are experienced managers in companies up to $100 million in sales, in marketing automations, in e-commerce, and in the food arena. We estimate our total addressable market at around $3.6 billion in 20 identified markets in the US. And the funds that we are raising right now are going to be dedicated mainly for customer acquisition and increasing our customer base. Now that I answered the main, golden question of any elevator pitch, I want to talk to you about the sauce. So if you think about what it takes to deliver an online order in the food area, if you think about the steak or if you think about the tomato, someone needs to cut the steak, someone needs to weigh the tomato, and someone needs to make sure that the product that you get is the best product. What we've done with our technology is we broke the paradigm of paying for the time. We basically split the order between the different artisans, and we let the people that know how to handle order to do that at no additional cost for them, and actually reducing our delivery cost significantly. Our orders in the last year, when we hit the right scale, were at $17.77 per delivery, which is an unheard of number in the industry of home delivery in the grocery area. Thank you.
So that 1777 is your cost of logistics on top of the cost of goods sold, right?
Yeah.
But then underneath that, you say you're charging the customer $6 for the delivery. So are you taking a loss on logistics?
So no, actually, if you're thinking about a $100 order, we get additional $5.95 from the customer for the delivery, and we also get 25 to 35% from the artisan for each and every piece of the order that they fulfill. So basically, we are starting with close to $30 on a $100 order.
Are you saying you make $17 in logistics?
No, our cost for delivery was $17.77, which again is a significantly lower number. And if you think about the entire logistics cycle, it starts with the inventory, which we do not carry. We split the order to the artisans and to the shop, and they hold the inventory. We have nothing. Then you have the pick and pack and sort, We don't do that. They accept the orders through our technology, they accept it right in time, and they accept it in the time for us to be able to pick up and deliver fresh to your door. And our job is basically to go between the stores and collect packages, marry them into a single tote, and do the final home delivery. So our cost is basically scalable, whereas the other parts of the logistics are not really.
I guess you partially answered that, but I want to give you a chance to explain more. There are a number of people in this market, the sort of farm-to-table space, right, if you can say that. And how different are you? I mean, other than logistics, is there a certain segment of food you're trying to go after? What's different about you guys?
It's a very good question because, we started as foodies. We started really by trying to deliver the best meat and the best fish and the best, cheese in your area to your door. That's what we were trying to do, and we basically found farm to table while following our passion for food. And we fell in love in farm to table again, but we try to do that. So we developed the technology that would allow each and every amazing food shop in your neighborhood to accept orders online, to open their offering to the entire Metroplex and not, 1 or 2 zip codes around where they are, and to accept, to really reach the customer. So this is what we started by doing. And if you look at the website today, what you find is basically a collection of the best food artisans in the city, on top of obviously farms and local farmers and local artisans and producers.
So just so I understand, ArtiZone is a customer destination site.
Yes.
It's not like I would go to my favorite farm and go to their website and you happen to be the delivery vehicle behind that.
It's a great question because when you place an order on artisan.com, you discover all those artisans and all those farms, and you collect everything into a single basket. So it's your destination to go to find all those great shops around your area. You create one basket, and our technology basically split the order between the different artisans and the different farms. They fulfill the orders, we then deliver it to you. So we handle both sides of the deal. We curate the artisans, and we handle the home delivery.
So you're kind of like a virtual co-op, right? I mean, there are co-ops out there which work with a number of farmers and so on. They put baskets together, and people, they end up getting delivered on a monthly, weekly basis, whatever, these grocery co-ops like that.
With the exception of the fact that the customer gets to choose the individual products that they want to buy.
Right.
They don't
And those
get
things, you just get the whole
closed
basket. Yeah, no, I understand that. Okay, got it.
What's your challenge going forward? What's the biggest problem you have to scale this?
So I think the biggest problem is twofold. The first part of it is to reach the customers. People talked here about customer acquisition and the cost of that. It's expensive to reach the customers, and it's expensive to make them try the service for the first time. It's a very, very deep habit to break. Out of egg, I'm going to the grocery stores. Out of milk, I'm going to the grocery stores. We need to break this habit and to get the customer to think, I'm out of eggs, I'm going to Artisan. That's a very difficult habit to break, and that's something that we are fighting on all fronts. Thank you, guys.
Okay, next up we have Dave from GeoPogo. Let's hear it for GeoPogo.
Thank you, Rob. Just going to adjust this down a little bit. Okay. So my name is Dave. I'm an architect with an MBA, and I love 3D. Together with a team of 3D graphic wizards from Pixar, DreamWorks, and Industrial Light and Magic, we're building digital models of 3D spaces. Our big news is that we were just selected by one of the major museums in San Francisco to create a 3D model of their facility, which will be presented on their website for their millions of visitors to see. So what are these 3D models? Try to imagine a combination of Google Earth with the fun and engagement of a video game and the retail potential of Amazon. So imagine that people aren't doing catalog e-commerce shopping, they're doing e-commerce shopping in replicas of real spaces, walking through replicas of the real streets. This can be monetized in a great variety of ways. We believe that our patented technology, which integrates a variety of things, it integrates reality capture, augmented reality, virtual reality, along with embedded analytics and native advertising. Imagine all the advertising in the world being flexible for you to use. So in the case of the museum, they're using this in order to attract more customers and to incorporate e-commerce into the exhibits that they have. So we have a team of 8. We have support from Fenwick and West, and we have advisors from many of the major technology and VR companies in Silicon Valley. Thank you.
So, Dave, is this a virtual space when you say 3D, or is 3D
Yeah,
like
it's a virtual space.
this 3D?
It's a model. So, for instance, if you think of Google Earth is kind of a map. It's for wayfinding, but it's not interactive. It's not a destination in itself. But then you think of a video game like Grand Theft Auto. In Grand Theft Auto, there are already stores. It's just part of a game, but there's stores. You can go in, you can browse. A salesperson helps you. You can pick something out. You can buy it. It's much more engaging than catalog shopping.
And is this tied to reality? Like, you know, do I go into this virtual 3D space and I'm actually talking to, you know, the salespeople that are on the floor in the mall?
It's, first of all, it's delivered in 2D and 3D platforms. So mobile, desktop, and then you can also do it with gear. There are a lot of products that are already out. You can see them at CES. They're working on these multiple platforms. So far as the person serving you, that would be kind of a high model. But the lower model would be somebody just goes in and clicks on things in your store, and then they have the opportunity to buy them. And it also has cultural value also if you look at the museum and being able to represent the museum's collection to many more people.
What's the unique claim on your patent? Pending, right?
Pardon me?
You have a patent pending?
2.
2 patents pending.
Yes.
What are the 2 unique claims?
Okay. Well, I can't talk about it in too much detail, but the first one is for 3D geospatial visualization. And it talks about how the video streaming, because there's cameras in the real world, which you can grab in the virtual world and see what's really going on there, so that the internet, rather than taking you away from reality, is bringing you back to reality. But anyway, so it's the way that those things are stitched together, the video streaming with the digital model, and the fact that, you know, it's just kind of a waste to do an exact replica of the real world. You want to augment it and introduce virtual reality aspects, make it better than reality.
What's the other one? Or they're both
Oh, the other one is dynamic customization, because through the analytics and the profiles of the users, then the world and what's presented to people in the world becomes tailored to their interests. So that when you go to your favorite, you know, store, the things that you're interested in are actually presented up front. You don't have to go past the perfume counters.
Are there any privacy issues that you've thought through and addressed
Yes.
in proposing this?
Yes. First of all, cameras where they were connected to this would be clearly marked, and they would only be in public spaces. There are already so many cameras in public spaces, and there's legal precedent for saying, well, if you choose to be in a public space, then you're choosing to make yourself known publicly. There's a very interesting thing about not fooling people about what's real. And this is something we've been talking in detail about with the museum, because the museum focuses on reality. They're open to the idea of introducing fantasy because they'd like to have more exhibits than they can really have in reality. But they want it to be very clear to people looking at it in the digital model what's real and what's not real. So you can cross a threshold into a room and then you know you're in a fantasy space that you wouldn't expect to see when you really went there. Yes.
How do you make money? Are you selling services to build these models, or are these the tools that the museums and so on
The
can
way
use?
that we make money is that we own the model of the world. We don't own the individual proprietary spaces that are attached to it, but we own the model of the world. So when people go to the GeoPogo website, for which the museum is a proof of concept, then all the advertising will be advertising that's coming to us, and all the analytic information that people are buying will be analytic information we're selling. We believe that alone will monetize it. However, if you think of the real world, people pay to go into many places. And if you paid $35 to go to a museum, you might pay $1 to see it online. Thank you.
Okay, last but not least, we have Michael from uplus.biz. Let's hear it from Michael.
Thank you. My name is Michael. I'm from uplus.biz. In a nutshell, at uplus.biz, we produce short videos that are used by the business professionals, job seekers, and new graduates to communicate who they are and what they do. Right now in the United States, there's 21 million sales and business professionals, 3 million unemployed professionals, and every year, 1 million new college graduates. Now, the key to their success, or their professional success, is how well they articulate who they are and what they do. At uplus.biz, we craft 30 to 40 second interview-based videos that communicates this message directly to their potential client, investor, customer, or importantly, future employer. And we started uplus.biz in January of last year. Since then, we have over 200 users and over 10,000 video views. Our flagship location is in downtown San Francisco, but we created uplus, or crafted uplus, in such a way that it's easily scalable by licensing the interview and the shooting process to qualified entities, while keeping the customer acquisition and the final product delivery, the editing of the video and the links and whatnot, in-house. Now, uplus.biz is the leader for providing videos for LinkedIn. We only have minimal competition in this area. We're looking to ask for funding to increase our scalability by bringing in affiliates across the nation. We look to be the go-to provider for LinkedIn videos for the professional market. But one possible exit is to be acquired by such named business technology company to add value for their premium customers. That's it. That's in a nutshell.
Are LinkedIn users embedding your videos via YouTube onto their LinkedIn profiles, or how is it?
Similar. I'll explain it. We actually host, we produce the videos, we host them on YouTube. In fact, all of our clients embed that video into their LinkedIn profile. Anything you can do with a LinkedIn video, you can do with our product. Yes, anything you can do with a YouTube video. In other words, we produce videos on YouTube. We host them on YouTube under the keywords that you give us. But not only on LinkedIn, we embed into email signatures on websites. We also embed into PDF resumes. In fact, the education market is one of the biggest markets that we have right now. I was just in last week in discussions with Dominican University and Sonoma State University and other business schools to provide this service for their MBA candidates. It gives you a tremendous competitive advantage to have this on your resume. It's kind of a cheat of the interview system. You're giving yourself an interview. And as I like to say, if your competitor has one of these in their PDF resume and you don't, you're at a tremendous disadvantage. And I truly believe within 2-3 years, this is almost going to be required for having on the resume.
And how are you getting these videos taped? People have to come to you at a kiosk, or is this, I can take this with my phone?
Actually, 3 different variations of this. First of all, we have our downtown San Francisco shooting location, but again, we're scaling this. We're licensing the interview and the shooting technology to, let's say, somebody in Sacramento, someone in Des Moines. In fact, we've had calls from Chicago, from Boston, New Jersey, for people wanting to license this technology. Basically, they act as a feeder for us. We take care of the scripting development. All they do is hit the record button, conduct the interview, and send us the film for the editing. Basically, in a crass kind of way, we're systematizing the production of video. We're making McDonald's hamburgers, and that's how we're able to keep the quality high. But the other 2 ways are we do go out to companies and shoot entire companies, or let's say enterprise systems, and we look to see let's say Wells Fargo Bank as a customer or as a potential customer, or Autodesk or Salesforce.com, because this is used by salespeople. The other third way is we go out to universities and have event days at universities and shoot a quantity of students there.
And what's special about the way you shoot? I mean, why can't I just make my own video off my phone?
Absolutely. We have the question all the time, and I say go for it. You know, have the iPhone right there, but make sure you get a tripod. And you probably want some good lighting, and you definitely need a good microphone. And then spend hopefully an hour or two doing script development, and then make sure the dog's not barking, the kid's not screaming. You take down the posters in the background. After about 5 hours, call me. We do it better, faster, cheaper. And if you're going after, let's say, an $80,000, $60,000 a year job, you want to have something that's professional quality. So we've systematized that professional creation of the video, again, for the business user.
You may have already covered this. What do you charge?
$399 as a standard price. We do discount that, and we have payment options. Let's say one payment options for a college student might be that we don't charge them for 6 months into it. So a new grad is hopefully going to get a job within 6 months, and it's an easy barrier after that. We have other ways of doing this. And there are supplemental products that we can add on. Customization of a script for, let's say, a particular company, addition of a logo, and download of the actual file are all things that we do charge additionally for.
Talk a little bit about your scale limitations. Seems like to keep scaling, there's a lot more people involved, and at some point there's got to be a point that you can't exceed past.
I don't know about that. I see that the market being huge. Our difficulty and our hurdle is, again, accessing that market. In terms of scalability, our typical, let's say, licensee might be the mom and pop photographer in Des Moines, Iowa, that's going to service the 2,000 graduates at the University of Iowa, or somebody in Boston that's going to serve the greater Boston area. There's enough people out there with a minimal amount of skill, with the training that we provide for them, that will be able to produce. Again, the labor is hitting the record button, conducting the interview, setting the right standards for shooting, conducting the interview, and sending us the film. It's a very low labor process. So we actually we've had people call us already. It's not going to be a hard sell.
What's to stop the folks, once you've taught them how to do this? It doesn't feel as if there's a real reason for them to keep paying you.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same way with the DIY kind of thing. We're not making money off of one video. We're making money off a quantity of videos. And basically, it's easier for them, again, with their labor. It's a very low labor for them to basically do the interview, do the shooting. The real labor is what we do, which is the customer acquisition and the creation and the editing of the video. And again, you can have a mom pop photographer do that. They don't want to deal with all the editing. That's where the real labor is. We've systematized that and taken care of that for them.
Right, well, let's hear it for all our presenters. And let's hear it for our panel. So, ladies and gentlemen, stand in your seats. We're going to the portion of the event that you were all waiting for. It's the raffle. So we have 8 prizes. The grand prize is $100 cash. And you must be present to win. So for those of you that left, tough luck. So let's start with a classic Idea to IPO jacket, which I'm very partial to. Eileen. Eileen is sporting the classic Idea to IPO polo shirt. The winner is Celine. It's just the first name, Celine. Celine, going once, twice. Sorry, Celine. Next. Jordan Warbin. Jordan. Once, twice. Alex. Rosen. Okay. This is from Anton. It's salad for whatever it is. Yes. Yes. Come on down. Here's the cat. Okay.
TSN. Yvonne Schwab. Yvonne.
Come on down.
All right, good evening, guys. I have two prizes. First of all, being entrepreneurs, a lot of sleepless nights. And for you pitchers, I bring you unicorn coffee. So, John Haggis of Bullington. And then when you do become a unicorn, decacorn, or whatever you want to call it, and want us to take a full 360 virtual tour of your company, or office space, working space, and Rob mentioned it could be your bedroom, let us know. As long as it's in San Francisco, Silicon Valley, or Santa Cruz, we'll come out, we'll do a tour, show you how the technology works. Sunil of Thai.
I'll let somebody else take it.
Chris of Patton.
Come on down. Here's some good stuff, you know. I'm on the pass. I did IPO prior to events in February 2016. There is Dave Burley, MTA. Dave, for one slice. Next, we have Don Calvo, Calvin, CPA and GGNA, so far. Don, one slice of mine. Ryan Phelps. Jordan Larley. Wow. Jordan. Jordan, that's too close now. Looking out of show Sylvia. Oh, yeah. No one is something like this is realized. It's $100 cash. It's real. And some of you guys don't think it's cash. So you want to Thorsten Dean, come on down. Thorsten, went home. T-Bucks, Justin. It's time for chaos. So if you want to talk to one investors, get one your favorite investor. And then the team has to ring the bell, you gotta move on. If you don't move on, we have penalties in place to force the team to limit. So go on until they get tired, go home. So let's go. Let's go.